How is your health and energy? This is a big one. If you haven't gotten the idea by now, your own small business is going to be a tough grind. If you didn't answer A, your health is good, and don't have a great deal of physical and emotional strength, you better think twice. Starting a business can be draining, physically and emotionally. Okay? If your health is not up to par, I would advise that you get it up to par before you consider starting a business, especially if it's a business that's going to require strenuous activity or a lot of travel, okay, or a lot of time, you know, up and down. You want to be healthy. Number 19, are you unemployed at the moment? A is the most promising answer. C can be a disaster. It's rarely a good idea to try to buy a job by starting a business. If you weren't motivated to do it before you lost your job, you're probably not going to be a good entrepreneur now. And I hear that a lot. Well, I just got laid off. I think I'll start a business. Well, did you think about it before? But no, I just got laid off. I just got through a nasty divorce. I think I'll start a business. Not the optimum time to start a business. How do you handle conflict of interest, as in dissatisfied customers or firing employees? Conflicts are a way of life. In small business, the buck stops with you. It's up to you to handle every conflict. And will there be conflict?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. With customers, vendors, investors, employees, there's always going to be conflict, and you must deal with that. If you're the person running the show, you've got to learn to deal with it. And I don't mean become really good at arguing. Okay? Your job as an entrepreneur is not winning the argument. Your job is to smooth out the argument and get to a resolution. Does that make sense? Especially if you're arguing with a customer, you're not going to win. You can't. If you want them as a customer, if you're willing to take money from them, you must work out a resolution or fire them as your customer. I've done that. Some people are just unreasonable and you can't argue with them. Right? How do you feel about authority? The desire for independence is one of the primary motivating factors among successful entrepreneurs. Answer B indicates that you fit the profile. What is answer B? Somebody read it to me.
I have to be able to do things my own way.
I have to be able to do things my own way. Most entrepreneurs have a problem with authority. That's why we make lousy employees. Okay? We don't want to answer to anybody but ourselves. Now, of course you are. When you're an entrepreneur, you report to your employees. You got bosses. It's just not bosses like we had back at the old job. No one can be completely independent, especially of customers. Too independent of attitude can be a real problem if your business, especially as a franchise with some structure. So, number 22, can you make decisions? This is a big one. This is the last one. Decision making is what entrepreneurs do for a living. The ability to make quick choices and live with the outcome is an absolute essential characteristic. So A is the best answer. When it comes to decision making, one of the things I really, really hated about corporate America was you couldn't do anything without a meeting. Okay? If we were at Boeing and Jeff raised his hand and said, "Can I go to the bathroom?" I'd go, "Well, I don't know, let's talk about it." You're just going to have to, you know what I mean? Honestly, it's that bad. Everything is a procedure and a process and a meeting, and it takes forever. And that's why a lot of the big boys, the bigger companies, are getting their butts kicked by these little bitty companies. Because these little bitty companies are still entrepreneurial. They still think creatively, and they can make decisions quickly. It doesn't require 5 meetings and 10 memos to make a decision. And that's what you got to do as an entrepreneur. You've got to make a decision like that, good, bad, or indifferent. You weigh the information you got. You hope it's the right decision. If it's not, you change course and go another direction. But you got to be decisive. How did you guys do? Who is cut out to be an entrepreneur with you? I better see every hand in here. You people wasted your money. Well, this is just kind of and it's not a scientific quiz. It's just to give you an idea of the characteristics that it takes to be an entrepreneur. I have to tell you that just the fact that you're here is very encouraging to me. You have done what 99.9% of the people wouldn't do. Okay? We sent out emails to probably a couple 100,000 people about this event, and look who's here. This is the cream of the crop.
So what if the spouse has no entrepreneurial bones?
What if the spouse has no entrepreneurial bone? Well, then you cook and clean and stay home and raise your kid. My wife, Melissa, is the least entrepreneurial person on the planet.
Okay.
Your job, if you will, is to support him, to believe in him. That's one thing. When I quit that great corporate job, I was making $80,000 a year. When I came home and told my wife, I am going to quit that job and start my own business, she said, okay, I believe in you. That was it. I mean, and she'll tell you to this day, you know, I'm opening a gun shop, of all things. A brick and mortar retail store here. I'm going to put a couple $100,000 into this place. And Melissa has not batted an eye. And, you know, I went to her and I said, let me tell you what I'm thinking. I always run it past her, and that's what you got to do. I told her my idea. She said, well, what's that kind of thing cost? And she's been with me long enough. She knows the questions to ask. What's it going to cost? What's the chance of success or failure? And what are we going to do if it doesn't succeed? And so I answered all those questions, gave her the right answer, and she goes, I trust you. That's it. So that's one thing I said earlier when we were talking about age. It's really important to have that support of that spouse. Now, if this business fails, what do you think Melissa's going to do? I told you so. I told you so. I heard that. But that's what it is. But you got to understand this. Entrepreneurs married to a non-entrepreneurial person, you got to let her have a say. Okay? Because if you don't, you know, if I had gone to Melissa and said, I'm going to do that, I don't care what you think, I'm going to do it. You think I'd be welcome at home tonight? You know my wife. You think, no way. Okay? So you've got to get the support from your spouse or your significant other. Okay? And it goes both ways. So you don't have to be entrepreneurial for him to succeed. You've got to just support him and keep him on the straight and narrow. Yes?
Also to have a trusted team member that'll help you out with different things too. And that's what spouse can also help with. You may not be entrepreneurial, but to help with watching the money, the finance, you know, very private things like that can be very helpful.
Yeah, great idea. What Mike says is get them involved because they can be helpful. And this is one thing I encourage highly is get the whole family involved, especially in the beginning when you're working a lot of hours and you're just all get the family involved, get the kids involved, get the wife involved, make that family time. Okay? But it's very important to do the support. All right, we have done that. What we're going to do now, and let me run through real quick. I'm not really pitching or selling anything this year. I did what's called a yard sale clean out of my office. I've got some of my books back there, and I've got what is left of the seminar we did last year here with Jim Cochran. It was the Supercharge Your Online Business seminar. It was a weekend event. We've got the DVDs to that. I think it's 4 DVDs and 1 audio CD. This is all I have left. Back there on that table, once they're gone, they're gone. If you want them, I think the DVD sets we sold for $3.97. I'm yard selling them for $97. The book you can pick up, that's my last box of books, $20 a book and I'll sign it. Of course, when I sign it, the value doubles. Oh, these ladies laughing at me. Really quick about the book. My mother, who I invited my mom here today. She said, honey, it's Saturday. I'm going yard sailing. So she said to wish you all the best, but there ain't no way she's going to pass up yard sales to here. But she was at my first book signing. And this was an 80-year-old woman. This is just all new to her. And someone come up and said, you know, Mrs. Knox, would you sign my book? And she said, well, honey, that's a brand new book. You don't want me to write in that. So these are not signed by my mother, but if you want a copy, I'll sign them. What we're going to do now is we're going to take, Paul's going to come back up. We're going to take a 15-minute break. When we come back, Mike Enos is going to come up. Mike is, in my opinion, the top eBay authority in the country today. If you want to know anything about eBay, listen to Mike Enos. Okay? If he tells you stories about me and him on a cruise ship, don't listen to that. Okay? Paul?
Yeah.
Is everybody good? Was that good stuff? All right, good.